Guys, Marsingan here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so we're continuing on the 50% EZA support showcases, and we have moved on to the INT Vegeta. Now, this guy is one that I think when people looked at his kit, people had him initially ranked quite low, because remember, these units, they all have the same passive, but their links and categories and things will be different based on the character that they are, and then their super attack effect. And this guy's super attack effect is just that he stacks attack and has a chance to stun. So compared to a bunch of the other ones that are either raising defense for the turn or greatly raising, or they're getting like, you know, Kabe and Kid Gohan, where they're getting a 9-turn stack, this guy doesn't seem as good. But he's got big bad bosses, and he's on a lot of teams with some really strong INT units, so he could actually have the potential to be very good. Remember that all of these units are giving their typing, so for Vegeta INT, he gives INT types 3 key, 10% attack and defense, extreme INT an extra 50%, so extreme INT gets 60% 3 key. He changes orbs to INT, he gets 50% attack and defense per orb obtained, an extra 20% attack and defense and 10% chance to crit if those orbs are INT. He has guard for 4 turns if we have 3 other INT units on the team, and if we get ever drop below 50% HP once only, he'll change the entire field to INT if we have 2 other extreme characters on the team. So his only 200% leads are Turles and Majin Vegeta, but where he's going to be really useful in the current meta is here on the Fusion Zamasu team, because we have units like Piccolo Jr., INT Rose, even the new Harudegan on JP. All of these guys are extreme INT, and they are all big bad bosses units, so having this Vegeta around is going to be really, really good for them. And this is a really good starting turn here as well. So we picked up 10 orbs, and that puts us to 510k with guard. Now, obviously, you know, the downside is, as we've already mentioned, he's not getting any extra defense when he super attacks. But, I mean, 500k with guard is still more than good enough in the current meta to tank any normals. I'm not sure how much he would take from, like, say, a Fusion Zamasu super attack. Obviously, he's going to be tanking the AoE perfectly fine. But of course, with him stacking attack, getting additionals here, he has the potential to build up to a fairly decent amount. So, I mean, he should tank this for double-digit damage. There we go. The only problem, I suppose, for him is going to be in the hardest events, like if we think about Fusion Zamasu, getting into the final phase where the boss becomes physical and then his guard runs out. That's where the issue is going to come in, right, with him not having any sort of defense raise on super. Who do I want to float off here? We got so many units that I want to try and get like built up. So let's float off the INT Rose. Actually, I really want to see INT Rose with the support buff here, because they do have a couple of the other links like prepared for battle and stuff like that as well. So I do think that would be very good. So let's see if we can get that going here, get him floated off. This is the thing, right? This team, even though double merge Zamasu, he's a tech unit, he's of course an absolute monster by himself anyway. So this Vegeta seems to fit perfectly on this team. Now remember, he's only going to be on the Fusion Zamasu 150 leader skill, right? He's not actually even getting like a 170 lead from Fusion Zamasu. So that makes that 500k like turn 1 defense look just that little bit better as well, right, all things considered. So it's definitely going to be very interesting. And now for Piccolo Jr. as well, another very strong extreme INT unit, they are, ooh, look at those orbs, he's on Piccolo's 170 because of course this Vegeta is a terrifying conqueror. We can get brutal beatdown here active as well, so let's do that. 11 orbs, so start of turn without any support, as you can see, only 97k defense. Not particularly great, considering he does have big bad bosses active as well. But then we pick up the 11 INT orbs here. No orb changing item or anything like that. Just him doing his thing with the orb changing. And he's at 565 with guard. So even if Frieza does his AoE here, obviously Frieza not the hardest hitting boss in the world, but if Frieza does his AoE here, Vegeta will take double-digit damage from this. Harudegan hopefully will dodge. Yep, there we go. And then Fusion Zamasu, of course, with his damage reduction, he's all good as well. And then, yeah, 10 million from Vegeta. So these guys that are not raising defense as part of their super attack effect, they're not going to be as impressive overall. But you have to remember the sheer amount of value that they bring to the team on top of you know, what else they're doing. Like this Zamasu team, I think a lot of people a bit disappointed with Hirudegarn because of his team build, but you put him on Zamasu's team, and he can be very, very impressive, especially, of course, once we get to the point where he transforms. So then you're throwing units like this Vegeta. Like, remember, the Zamasu's team was so wonky on release that when it came to running like a third slot floating support unit or something like that, people were running Chilai, who is, of course, like basically a dodge or die character. So it could certainly lead to some very awkward situations. Like, I have lost runs completely because I brought her on the team, right? So I'll see if I can save some int orbs and some physical orbs here, because I did bring an orb changing item. So yeah, obviously now this Vegeta, way better of a choice for the team if you want to bring a floating support instead of bringing Chilai, right? Because as we've discussed in all the other parts, like all these other 50% showcases so far, these guys having guard for the first 4 turns is going to be incredibly powerful of an ability in these shorter, more difficult events. So I'm definitely going to jump into Fusion Zamasu with a couple of these guys on some different team builds. Like, it could even be interesting on the Fusion Zamasu team. Imagine if we build a team with... We'd have to have 3 of each, which actually I guess doesn't work, right? It'd only work for tech. I was going to say, imagine if we had like second form Cell and Vegeta on the same team, but we wouldn't be able to get enough of the other typing allies for them to get their guard, which is unfortunate. But one of those builds, whether leaning towards more for int or for tech, would obviously be very good. So does Rose... Oh wait, he doesn't have prepared for battle. Okay. Saiyan Warrior Race, Royal Lineage, Big Bad Bosses, Prodigies, Nightmare, Brutal Beatdown, and Shattering the Limit. So he actually doesn't link very well with Rose, but Rose can go in slot 3, so I guess that's fine. Now we don't have guard anymore, but I guess we could go ahead and check this out for the 1 turn here. Change all these orange orbs to int, and then we can get, what, 15 is the best one here, 2 of which are rainbow. So 13 int orbs, which are giving 70%, and then 2 orbs that are giving 50%. That puts him to 711k. So, I mean, you can really see the difference between the ones that we've showcased so far that have the stacking and everything. Because, like, even though this is only turn 5, like, Kabe or Kid Vegeta would be, Kid Gohan would be well over 1 million defense after picking up that many orbs because of the stacks that they can get from their super attacks. So, it's a little bit unfortunate that Vegeta has the super attack effect that he does. But he is sharing a few links with these decent villain units, including Big Bad Bosses, stacking up the attacks. I mean, he's doing 14 million here. And of course, with all those int orbs, he basically has a guaranteed crit. So even his normal attack able to do very solid damage there. But, I mean, with 700k defense and no guard, he is then, of course, entering that territory where he will be taking damage from some of these bigger bosses. So I think he is probably one of the more risky ones to use, but if you're getting to use him in these stages where, you know, you can get the fight over with fairly quickly, you've got a bunch of the strong int units on the team, like, obviously he can end up looking very, very good. So we'll try and save ourselves some int orbs here. I guess we'll just use these physical ones for Zamasu. With double Zamasu and Piccolo Jr., we might unironically 1-turn the AGL Frieza here. I mean, Frieza is still a fun event to showcase units in because it's quite long. And obviously we get to see here, right, the effect of Vegeta once that guard has run out, the kind of numbers that he's hitting. And again, as I've said in these other, you know, showcases for the other guys, ideally you're going to be floating these units off. So them having 4-turn guard is such a great design because you float him off on his first turn, he has guard on his first turn. When he comes back again, even though you floated him off in slot 3, he still has guard because he came back within like the 4 turns of his first appearance, right? So then you float him off again. So if we're talking about Fusion Zamasu, for example, the final stage of the red zone, hopefully you've beaten the physical phase by the time you get to turn 7. And if you haven't, you hopefully win on turn 7, right? Because, you know, you'll have Vegeta in slot 3 again, and he's going to be in a position where if you get all the way to the end of that turn 7 and he's taking some hits, then he's going to be in trouble, especially if Zamasu is already supered, and of course the super will just one-shot him completely. But with the buff that he gives to the team, I feel like you could quite easily get the turn, like the whole event beaten by the time you're ending turn 7, right? So then he's not going to have to take any hits whatsoever, which is really, really good. So let's go ahead and transform Hirudegarn here. Let's see, you're sharing 3 links. What links do you share with you? Just Big Bad Bosses, okay. And then you guys actually link pretty well. No, just Big Bad Bosses and Fierce Battle. There you go. That's the Harudagan problem for you right there. So let's do this. I mean, it's good. It's going to be interesting to see what Harudagan's going to do here with the Vegeta support as well, because I imagine it's going to be pretty good. And then we can get 10, there you go, 12 with 11 in orbs. So that puts us up to, yeah, see, only 595k. Unfortunately, that is just not good enough for the harder events once the guard has run out. But, as we've already said, in some of these tougher events, now that the meta is leaning more towards the shorter fights, hopefully he would be okay by the time we get to this point, right? But look at that, Harudagan 11.5 million. Thanks to the support. He's getting 60% attack and defense from Vegeta, remember? So, and then, of course, the big thing about Harudagan is he can do a whole bunch of those. So here comes the 12 mil. And then, only an additional normal, sadly. And then what is Vegeta going to be up to here now? Because remember, we've gotten a few stacks in. Haven't got many additional supers, but... Alright, so dodge this. Yep, there we go. Perfect. That was 3 dodges in this turn as well, so he has guaranteed guard if we were to, dodge if we were to get another turn. But Vegeta 12.4 with a guaranteed crit. So if he got an additional super, then it would just be GG. And then Cell, with the support from Vegeta, he's at 7.5. I mean, considering this Cell really, of course, starts going crazy once he transforms. But this LR Cell kind of seeing a bit of a comeback thanks to Harudagan. And... like I said, I think I mentioned it in the second form Cell. Hadn't even crossed my mind because I haven't used these guys as much recently. But like every Cell unit is on Zamasu's 200% leader skill. So there you go. Cell finishing it off there. So let me know what you guys think down below. Like I say, Vegeta definitely is one of the units that feels like he was the most needed because the teams that he's on can benefit from him the most. But because of the super attack effect, I definitely don't think I could say that he was the best out of all of these guys, right? Because you saw some of those defenses on the later turns, even when we picked up a pretty large amount of orbs. And so unfortunately, if you get into a situation where that does happen and the guard has run out, that level of defense is just not going to cut it against the hardest bosses. But like I said, hopefully the support that he's providing to everyone else, because, you know, we were having a bit of a wonky combination of links because of the way we did the turns, because we're showcasing Vegeta specifically. But if we're running a rotation of like Merge Zamasu and LR Rose, and then this Vegeta's in slot 3, LR Rose is getting a ton of those links from Zamasu and then getting the 60% support as well. And so then, yeah, some of these rotations are going to look pretty crazy. So definitely looking forward to all of these guys coming to Global eventually. But let me know what you guys think of Vegeta down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store. And I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.